Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right along the shores of the Allegheny River. We're at PNC Park, final game of a 4-game series. The Dodgers so far have lost 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. The Pirates turning their fortunes around since the Dodgers came to town. They were playing just terrible baseball, but that has been much improved so far in the first 3 games of the series.
And I think he also has to say that the Dodgers have been playing some pretty terrible baseball as well, so they need to turn that around.
Dodgers magic number down to 1. This is what Joe Torre has lined up today. Juan Pierre spelling Manny Ramirez in left field again today. Orlando Hudson, Andre Ethier, Matt Kemp, .327 batting average against lefties. He'll be taking on Zach Duke today. James Loney, great anniversary for him. We'll talk more about that. 3 years ago, a very special day for James Loney. Mark Loretta gets the start at third. Brad Ausmus, again, behind the plate. Second time on this road trip. He's replacing Russell Martin, just giving him a day off. Juan Castro replacing Rafael Furcal. Similar situation, just to give him a day. And Hiroki Kuroda hits 9th. And there is a look at Zach Duke.
Zach Duke has fallen on some tough times lately, making his 30th start of the season, but he's lost 6 of his last 7 decisions. The one no decision in there was against the Dodgers when the Pittsburgh Pirates were in town. He went 7 1/3 in that game, gave up just 4 hits and 2 runs, but he got the no decision. He's got a fastball, a curveball, a slider, and a changeup, the 4 basic pitches. In order for his changeup to be successful, he needs to pitch inside. He's got to get in on guys. Sometimes he doesn't do that well.
26-year-old from Clifton, Texas. He has the most wins of any pitcher here at PNC Park. PNC opening in 2001. And we're ready to go. Lefty on lefty matchup right out of the chute. It's going to be Juan Pierre and then Orlando Hudson and Andre Ethier. Dodgers losing yesterday against the Pirates. They actually stayed in the clubhouse for a while, about an hour and a half after the ball game, just to see what would happen out in Denver. Cardinals and Rockies finishing up. When the Rockies won, the Dodgers, that play is made in left field by Lastings Millage, made it a little bit more difficult than it needed to be. Let's take a look at that defense behind Zach Duke. Millage, McCutchen, and Moss in the outfield from left to right. Infield of Andy LaRoche at third. Luis Cruz once again the starting shortstop. Delwyn Young, former Dodger, at second. Garrett Jones back in the infield at first with a battery of Zach Duke and Ryan Doman. Now, the Dodgers stayed in the ballpark about an extra hour and a half after the ball game, thinking that they would celebrate the NL West crown if the Cardinals defeated the Rockies. That did not happen, so the Dodgers missing 2 opportunities yesterday to clinch the NL West. They didn't do it themselves on the field, and then they missed an opportunity when the Rockies continued to win. So now the Dodgers will try and get the NL West title for themselves here on a Monday afternoon in Pittsburgh.
I'm sure a lot of Dodger fans have seen the highlights of that Rockies-Cardinals game when the Cardinals had first and third with 1 out in the 9th, chance to tie it. Clint Barmas just made a fantastic running over-the-shoulder catch at second base and then doubled Pujols off first.
Softly hit to the shortstop, and Cruz throws it away. Hudson on his way to second. He's in trouble. He's in a pickle as the ball didn't get too far away from Jones, and it looks like it's going to be an out on the base paths.
This is a pretty good aggressive play, but this is just lack of knowledge of the ballpark we're playing in right now. Unfortunately, this ball gets away. He thinks he can go, but it bounces off the brick wall and comes right back. Now you're dead. That's too bad. I mean, obviously, if you played a few more games here, you would know that there's a chance that that ball could bounce back like it did, and maybe you would think twice about going. Came right back to Jones. It was like a pitch back.
That's going to be interesting to see who the error's on. The error allows Hudson to reach first. They got to give an error on someone. Garrett Jones just missed it.
Just flat out went right by him.
Yeah, they do give the error on Garrett Jones. The throw was okay. It wasn't the world's greatest throw, but Garrett Jones just whiffed. Looked like he did when he was trying to hit a Clayton Kershaw fastball yesterday.
You know, the funny thing about something like that is, you know, first basemen don't get that much credit. There's so much more to playing first base than just catching the ball, but that's kind of the general consensus. It's like, you play first base, all you have to do is catch the ball when they throw it over to you. And that time, Jones didn't.
I guess we could say maybe the sun was a factor. This is one of the first moments today that we've actually had the sun out. It was a cold, dreary, gray day when the Dodgers woke up in their hotel across the river. Well, Zach Duke makes quick work of Andre Ethier. It's a 1-2-3 first inning. Hiroki Kuroda will be on the mound when we come back. This batting order for the Pirates. We take a look at the AM/PM Pirates batting order. Andrew McCutchen, Andy LaRoche, Garrett Jones, the top three. Ryan Doman hits cleanup. He's the catcher. Yesterday, his hitting hero was Lasting's Millage. He had a double that drove in 3 runs in the 9th inning to win the game for the Pirates. Brandon Moss, Delwyn Young, Luis Cruz, and Zach Duke picks up the rear. There is Hiroki Kuroda, making the start, a record of 8-6 on the year. Well,
everybody knows Kuroda now, how many different pitches and arm angles he throws. Russell Martin told me he can throw about 7 different pitches, including the shoot-up. He's been outstanding ever since he got hit by that line drive in Arizona. He's won his last 3 starts,
including earlier on this road trip. He won the game on Tuesday against the Washington Nationals.
Went 6 innings in that one, gave up just 4 hits and 2 runs.
And only threw 81 pitches. Should be rested. Andrew McCutchen leads things off. Hits this one. May have broken his bat. He's going to get himself a base hit. Runner on at first, nobody out. Let's take a look at our Southern California Ford dealers Dodgers defense. Pierre Kempen Ethier in the outfield. Infield of Mark Loretta at third, the veteran replacing Casey Blake. More on that in a moment. Juan Castro, the shortstop. Orlando Hudson, James Loney, the right side of the infield. With Brad Ausmus catching Hiroki Kuroda. Congratulations to Brad Ausmus. With this start today, he ties Benito Santiago for 8th place all time in games caught. 1,917.
That's a lot of squatting.
And he may not be in 8th place for very long, because one more game caught, and he'll tie Al Lopez for 7th place on that list. Al Lopez with 1,918 career games caught. So a lot of these guys are bunched together. There's strike 1 thrown to Andy LaRoche. .251 the batting average for LaRoche. He's actually been on a decently hot streak. He's hit safely in each of his last 13 starts. Doesn't have a 13-game hitting streak. He was asked to pinch hit during that time frame. Didn't get a hit. So not a lengthy hitting streak, but still, he's been doing well with the consistent playing time he's been getting, really, for the first time in his career at the big league level.
I talked to a lot of guys around the Pirates, and they really are very happy with his progress. Getting a chance to play every day. He didn't have that opportunity with the Dodgers, and I think he's taking the game a little bit more seriously now too, that he's got a chance to play every day, and he knows that the numbers that he's throwing up there right now really matter.
Yeah, this is his 136th start of the season. It's the most starts for a third baseman here in Pittsburgh since Aramis Ramirez made 155 in 2001.
I thought maybe the Joker, Joe Randa, would be on that list, but no.
Yeah, that's kind of been like a black hole for this organization, trying to find a consistently productive third baseman. I guess they kind of did it to themselves. They traded a young Aramis Ramirez to the Cubs, and that was, I think anyone asked would say that was a mistake. Into right field, back-to-back base hits to begin the ball game for the Pirates. LaRoche on at first.
And there goes LaRoche again, just continuing to hit against his former team. And right off the get-go, the Dodgers in a little bit of trouble here.
So runners at first and at second. Garrett Jones will bat. Told you about Mark Loretta getting the start at third base. Mark obviously thrilled to get the time, trying to get his swing. But he's replacing Casey Blake. There is a little bit of concern with Casey. He's missed the last couple of games with that left hamstring injury. Casey was actually sent back to Los Angeles, and he's getting looked at right now. Dodgers don't think it's anything significant. They just want to use this time productively to get their own guys looking at him and make sure that he's progressing as quickly as he should. Casey will rejoin the team tomorrow in San Diego, and the Dodgers will have more information as to how healthy he is and when he can get back in that lineup.
Hopefully soon. When you look at this Pirates lineup, this guy right here is the guy that scares me the most because he's been quiet. Leads all rookies with 20 home runs, but has done virtually nothing against the Dodgers. Yesterday's ball game, he struck out twice on 6 pitches total, and then the Dodgers and Joe Torre intentionally walked him 3 straight times. Very odd combination of never making contact with a pitch at all in 5 at-bats. One, you swing at 3 of them, and the other, you don't even get a chance to. But, I mean, this guy has been a phenomenal power hitter for this team ever since he got called up. He got called up late in June. And he's been quiet. That's why it scares me. A lot of averages start to catch up with you. This kid can swing the bat.
McCutcheon on at second, LaRoche on at first. Nobody out. Home half of the first. On the ground, double play ball. Hudson. DeCastro on to first in time. 4-6-3, 2 outs on 1 ground ball.
A nice play by Orlando Hudson. Once again, we talked about it in yesterday's ball game. He had to take a step back in order to field a good hop. Now that makes it a little bit slower double play ball, so Castro's going to get his lunch right here. LaRoche comes in hard. He gets up over him. He just clips his leg, and then he goes down. For all the young ball players out there, you know, it's one of the most important things that a middle infielder will do after they throw the ball. They jump in the air. You got to get up. So if you get hit, you don't get your legs tangled up underneath you. That's how you blow out knees and twist ankles. At least if you're up in the air when the guy hits you, you're going to fall down, but you're not going to get your legs tangled up underneath the other player.
Castro getting the start today for Rafael Furcal. No injury news there, just a regular day off. Joe Torre actually asking Rafi earlier on this road trip what day he wanted off, yesterday's day game or today's day game, and Rafi saying, I'd prefer to be off on Monday. This is Ryan Domet, the catcher. A little bit inside, 1-1. Other injury news for the Dodgers, Ronnie Belliard. He has got a little bit of a groin issue. He has had a history of groin problems. He's getting the day off today. Dodgers hoping it's not anything significant.
I think they're going to probably give him a couple more days off. He said that it's not nearly as bad as the injury that he had before. And actually on the other side, the other groin. I always kind of wondered about how many groins you have. Right side, left side. Is there any more?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Businessman special today. Last home game for the Pittsburgh Pirates. A day game, getaway day for the Dodgers. Too bad there aren't a few more people out here to enjoy the last ball game here for 2009.
Foul tip at home plate. Well, for as bad as the Pirates have played for the majority of this season, they are actually running up against 100 losses. They're 58-96. They've been fairly respectable here at home. They're almost 500. 39-41 here at PNC. So a win today, and they're just one game below 500 on the year. It's on the road where they've just been atrocious. John Russell's team, 19-55 away from Western Pennsylvania.
That's not going to get it done.
That'll get it done. Hiroki Kuroda strikes out Ryan Doman. Looks at strike 3. So McCutcheon and the Roach lead off the bottom of the first with base hits, but no run scored. Second inning is next. Years ago today, where were you? You may not remember, but I bet James Loney remembers where he was. He was in Colorado, taking on the Rockies. He had a couple of home runs, 9 runs batted in. That's a Los Angeles Dodger record that ties the Dodger franchise record. Gil Hodges, the only other man with 9 runs batted in a single contest.
A grand slam and a 3-run shot in that game. 9.
That's a good 2 weeks. 9 runs batted in on this day 3 years ago. Matt Kemp leads things off, hits it on the ground, backhanded in the hole by Cruz. This time the ball again gets past the first baseman Garrett Jones. So Kemp is going to move on over to second. It's going to be an error on the shortstop, Cruz.
Boy, it's just a bad play all the way around. Once again, if you're a kid watching this game, the way Cruz fielded that ball, if you're going to backhand a ball, you really want to be kind of low and behind it. He backhanded it between his legs. That's not, you want to be, that your glove wants to be to the side of you. That was in between his legs, and now he's in trouble. Short arms it over there. Jones at first can't pick it. Everybody's running.
Yeah, look at that. Pirates with 68 errors coming into this ball game. They're going to set a franchise record for fewest errors ever in this franchise's history. They've already made 2 errors, and we're just in the top of the second.
Franchise record for fewest errors was set in 07 at 83, I believe. And all we heard about was how well this team played defense, and they've made some funny plays that aren't scored an error. And now they are making flat-out errors.
On the ground, foul.
Now James Loney down the line there was looking to tack on another RBI on the anniversary of his 9 RBI day. Hit the ball, wasn't sure if it was going to be fair. Umpire down there wasn't sure for a minute. He finally did. Gary Cederstrom finally did call it foul, and James took his bat with him.
Duke's 0-2. Jammed him. Cruz going back. Makes the play. Kemp's going to have to hurry. Out at second. Second time in as many innings that the Dodgers have made it out on the base paths.
Dodgers got picked off twice in yesterday's ball game. Now basically picked off twice in this one. Matt Kemp, you can see him trying to hustle over there, but he just got too far towards third base. And I'm not so sure that DY was actually on the base when he caught this ball. You see him coming off the base. It was his left foot that was on the bag, but doesn't matter. The umpire called him out. And some sloppy base running again by the Dodgers.
All right, talk about sloppy as Matt Kemp thinks about it. Mark Loretta takes strike one. Dodgers have played 6 games so far on this road trip. They were in Washington for 3 against the Nationals and now playing here against the Pittsburgh Pirates. 2 worst teams in the National League. Let's see, was he on the base? Ooh.
I don't think he was on the base. But you know what? That comes down to, there's no way that Joe Torre is going to come out and argue a play like that, because I think he knows that his team's basically in the wrong. Don't put yourself in a position like that where you could get called out. When it's close enough for them to call you out and you've kind of made a mistake, Joe's not really going to have your back then.
Closing out that thought on sloppy play. On this road trip, Dodgers 3 wins, 3 losses. In those 3 losses, they've committed 5 errors.
And this is has been one of the top defensive teams in all of baseball all year long.
Loretta hits it to left field. And now the base running mistake by Kemp really hurts, as it's a single. And with 2 outs, a runner on at first in the form of Mark Loretta.
Let's talk about why that mistake by Kemp was just a mistake that shouldn't have happened anyway, because Kemp was just overly aggressive getting his secondary lead to third. He was trying to go to third to see if that ball was going to drop in. But if it dropped in, Matty wouldn't have been able to score on that ball. It wasn't hit hard enough for him to score from second. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense to be really aggressive going towards second to take the chance that you get doubled off at second if the ball gets caught. If it drops, you easily get to third, but you don't score.
Brad Ausmus, the batter, takes downstairs, ball 1. Veteran catcher hitting .301 on the season. If you're wondering, he has never hit 300 in the big leagues over a full season. And they've got Mark Loretta picked off. We've got 2 innings in the books, and the Dodgers have already recorded 3 outs on the base paths. Tough start for the men in blue. Played an inning and a half. Scoreless. Had 3 base runners Yet they've ended up having 1, 2, 3 innings in both the first inning and the second inning. They've had guys cut down who are running bases in the first and 2 times in the second.
Well, it's, you know, you look at the way this game's being played so far, you're almost happy that there aren't that many people in the stands to see it.
Lastings Millage, hitting hero yesterday. Takes strike 1. On 3 separate occasions yesterday, Joe Torre choosing to walk the man in front of Lastings Millage to get to Millage. First 2 times, it worked. Third time, not so much. Millage with the bases loaded hit a double. Ball got away from Ethier. 3 runs scored and the game was over. That was in the 9th inning.
Well, Joe Torre kind of going with the percentages there with Lastings Millage was 0 for 20 against the Dodgers so far this season. So Joe said, you know what? I keep going to that well until you prove you can hit the ball against us. I'll tell you what. I mean, he did a fantastic job of hitting. It was a little tougher for me to see. I was down in the locker room at the time, but I mean, that was a riding fastball hard in on Millage's hands. He pulled his hands through and shot the ball to right field nicely on about a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Broxton.
Is that just a blip in your eyes with Broxton, or was there cause for concern giving up 4 earned runs? Actually, 3 of them earned 4 runs and only recording 1 out.
You know, Big JB, you know, like I said in the open, I just think he's been fantastic. I'll take his numbers anytime.
Loretta bobbles, throw is high. Millage safe at first. So we've seen 3 errors already in this ball game. First error by a Dodger fielder. Millage safe at first.
Well, right here, once you bobble as a third baseman, if you have to take a step or 2 to go to pick it up, especially with a guy like Millage, you might as well eat it, because really nothing good can happen after that. Loretta, as soon as he threw that ball, knew that he probably shouldn't have thrown it. Frankly, he's lucky that Millage didn't get to move up to second base there, I guess. But back to Broxton, I mean, he's one of those guys. I mean, he's saved 36 games this year. He's blown 6. Those are the kind of numbers you expect out of a really good closer. They're going to blow some. The funny thing with JB is
Brandon Moss hits it down the left field line. Pierre in fair territory makes the play. I thought the wind would take that into the stands. It stayed fair. And Pierre makes the catch.
With Jonathan Broxton, usually if he does blow one, he crashes and burns pretty good. It's spectacular. It's not like, oops, he gave up 1 base hit and they scored a run and that's it. It's, you know, he'll sometimes if it goes south for him, it goes south big time. But like I said, I just don't think you can argue with the numbers that he's thrown up this year, especially down the stretch. Before that one, he was 11 for 11 in save opportunities with an ERA of 0. You like that? You'd take that, wouldn't you? Mm-hmm.
Second baseman, former Dodger Delwyn Young grabs the bat, .261 the batting average, half dozen homers, throw to first base. Millage back with the dive. It's a windy day here in Pittsburgh. Probably a good thing. There's a lot of water on this field when we got to the ballpark. This wind is drying it out a little bit. You can see those flags blowing from left to right.
I think that's one of the reasons why Manny Ramirez isn't in this ball game. He's had a little bit of a hamstring issue, and these are the type of days that makes it worse. When you play on a soggy field, it's not necessarily the one day you play. You can play that whole game. It's usually the next day you come out and play. If the field's still soggy, that's when your hamstrings can really blow on you. It happened to me in Milwaukee one time. The only time I ever blew out a hamstring in my life.
First pitch to Young, misses outside. Yeah, the injury to Manny Ramirez happening on Saturday. Joe Torre telling everyone that it's not that big of a deal. Just wanted to make sure that Manny's a little bit better and the field is in a little bit better condition. It's obviously going to be a big part of what the Dodgers do once the postseason rolls around.
It's amazing to me to think of the Dodgers being a team that, as we stand, has the best record in the National League, and yet there's so many questions for Joe Torre headed into the playoffs. He has to decide, like, and you look at today's lineup, not necessarily the lineup that you're going to start in a playoff game, but he's trying to rest guys, and yet he has to weigh that against keeping the best record in the National League so that you can get home field advantage. He has to worry about some of these injuries that he has now that you were hoping to not have to deal with at this point in the season. And the third one for me is, well, outside of setting up your playoff rotation, the way this team's playing right now. Joe is such a stoic manager. We certainly know that. And there's the best record in the NL race right now. At what point does Joe, I mean, I can't imagine he can watch what he's seen over the last week and not eventually say something about the way his team's playing. They have not looked good. And playing against the worst teams in the National League.
And so far, the first 6 games of this road trip against the Nationals and now the Pirates, Dodgers have won 3 and lost 3. After today, it's off to San Diego for a quick 2-gamer against the Padres. 3-1 pitch, fouled away.
You look at the 3-3 record. Nice catch by one of the fans, just barehanded, had his program, keeping score in one hand and reaching out and barehanding the other one. That guy right there, sweet grab. Getting the high fives from everybody. I wonder if he'll give himself a putout in his own scorebook. You know, getting back to the 3-3 record, the Dodgers easily, outside of that game against the Nationals, I think it was, when they scored 14 runs. And they could be 1-5 on this road trip. The other 2 games that they won were very close and could have gone the other way.
Millage on at first. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. There he goes. Hit into right center field. That's going to get down. Millage on his horse. He's going to round third, and he's going to score. Young on his way to second. Stand-up double. So John Russell had the runner moving from first, trying to stay out of the double play, and Millage scores because of it.
Well, it's a great time to get in motion. I was a little surprised in the first inning that McCutchen was not running, and they ended up hitting into a double play ball. Watch the location of this pitch. They tried to go up and away from DY, and he didn't get it there. Kuroda generally very good at staying out of the middle of the plate. That one was right down Broadway, and he smoked it.
So the error by Loretta allows Millage to reach first base safely. It eventually comes around to scores on the double for Young. Shortstop Luis Cruz bats. Kuroda starts him with a strike.
Some of the ex-Dodgers coming back to haunt their former team, both LaRoche and Delwyn Young.
Foul ball right side. Ausmus not able to make the play. Brad's still in great shape. Told you that he ties Benito Santiago for 8th place in terms of games start, 1,917. He's a 40-year-old man, but he still looks like a younger guy. He can run a little bit. We've seen him beat out an infield hit on this road trip.
He's 40 years old. He's a good-looking guy. He's always kept himself in great shape, as you mentioned.
Broken bat, base hit in left center field. Young had to wait to see if it would fall, only able to go up to third base. Runners on at the corners with 1 out.
Let's watch the base running here by Delwyn Young. It's another situation where that ball's hit over your head. You're not sure who's going to make the play. Look at him freeze right there. It's another one of those plays where even if the ball gets down, you can't score. So why be overly aggressive towards third? Now wait for it to get down and cruise into third base. I suppose if you ran at the crack of the bat and didn't worry about anybody catching it, you could score from second base, but that's not the way to do it. Matt Kemp found that out, because if someone runs out there and catches it, obviously there was a chance that someone could catch that. You're doubled off. It doesn't make sense.
Well, the Pirates having good success against Hiroki Kuroda earlier in this game. The first 8 guys that have faced him, half of them have gotten base hits. 3 singles and a double allowed by Hiroki Kuroda. And now the pitcher, a good hitting pitcher, Zach Duke, steps in. Duke's got 12 hits and 54 bats on the year, batting average of .222. Not much pop. but he can hit a little bit. On the ground. It's going to score a run. Hudson, the only play is at first. RBI for Zach Duke. RBI number 5, and the Pirates take a 2-0 lead. So we move back to the top of the lineup. Andrew McCutchen grabs the bat. McCutchen had a solid single his first time up. Was stranded at third as the first inning came to a close. McCutchen, a rookie who spent the beginning part of the season playing for the Indianapolis Indians, AAA baseball in the International League. One of the few reasons why there's reason to smile if you're a Pirates fan. 283 the batting average, a dozen homers, runs very well, and plays a great center field. We've seen that in this series.
I think this ballpark sets up nicely for his abilities too, because it is a big outfield to cover, and he can do it. It gives him a lot of room out there for creative baseball. Run some stuff down, make the great plays, get on the highlight reels. And we've noticed in this series that this kid does not get cheated too. He will air his swing out.
Cruz is doing some dancing out there at second base. Hiroki didn't like it, steps off the rubber.
Well, none of the middle infielders of the Dodgers going to pay any attention to Cruz right now, because with 2 outs, you don't expect the guy to go.
3-0 to McCutchen.
We said at the outside of the show that Hiroki Kuroda is great when he's wild within the strike zone, when he hits all the quadrants of the strike zone. But when he's in the middle of the plate, he really doesn't have the kind of overpowering stuff to beat you. And he has not had good command today.
There's a strike, 3-1.
When he's in the strike zone, it has been in the middle of the strike zone. And otherwise, he's been missing and throwing a lot of pitches and throwing a lot of balls.
So on 5 pitches, McCutchen works the walk. 2 consecutive innings he's reached safely against Kuroda. That's the first walk allowed by Hiroki. Runners now on at first and at second, and here comes Rick Honeycutt. Now, Steve, much like we were talking about yesterday with Clayton Kershaw, who went 4 innings in his start against the Pirates, Hiroki Kuroda, this is an important start for him as the Dodgers try and figure out what the possibilities are, pitching-wise, starting rotation-wise, come postseason play.
Yeah, and I would think that Joe Torre's probably leaning towards Kuroda being one of those top 3 pitchers in the rotation. I think he's already kind of mentioned that Vicente Padilla might be pitching the rest of this season out of the bullpen. And also, he has mentioned the desire to shorten guys down. He doesn't want to see them going deep into ball games. He wants to be able to give them a little more rest heading into the postseason. And that's why Padilla goes to the pen. You have Weaver out in the pen. You have a few more long guys because of the necessity of having those guys if you're going to shorten down your starters.
Andy LaRoche takes breaking ball, strike 1. Now, right now, the Dodgers working with a 6-man starting rotation. Tomorrow, the game in San Diego, Chad Billingsley will get the start. And then on Wednesday, John Garland will go against Clayton Richard. All of those games, 7 o'clock start times, LA time, down in San Diego.
You know, it's an interesting call on Billingsley. When you look at when he gets a start, you're looking at about 5 games left to go. So you doubt that he would make 2 starts before the postseason begins play. But if he has a great start in his next one, you know, he could be well on his way back to being back in the postseason plans as far as a top of the rotation guy, because he had not pitched well enough really to be in consideration. His last start was very, very good until he hung the breaking ball to Zimmerman, and that cost him 3 runs. If he comes back and has another outstanding start and doesn't make that one mistake pitch, maybe he changes Joe Torre's mind about where he fits in.
Counts now 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, runners on at first and at second. The Dodgers obviously would have loved to have clinched the NL West yesterday. They want to do it today. They want to get it done. Once that's done, then there's a whole different form of flexibility for Joe Torre and his brain trust to figure out exactly what they want to do. If they want to take guys out of the rotation, if they want to use guys out of the bullpen, if they want to lengthen guys, that's when the possibilities really are endless. This ball hit to center field. Kemp going back, still going back. It's over his head. That'll score a pair. McCutchen steaming around third. LaRoche gets himself a 2-run batted in double. Four nothing Bucks.
Let's check out LaRoche's swing. This is one of the reasons why when they used to talk about the Fab Five of the kids coming up through the minor leagues, guys like Kemp and Martin and Loney, LaRoche was always one of the better players of that 5 guys playing in Jacksonville. He's showing off his talents here for the Pirates, and he's been killing the Dodgers.
Remember, this inning began when Mark Loretta at third base made an error on a ball hit by Lastings Milledge. It was a routine play. And so now Hiroki Kuroda is trying to get 4 outs in the inning and is having a hard time doing it. Garrett Jones, the 8th man to hit in the inning, steps in and hits it past James Loney. LaRoche being waved around third. Here comes the throw. It's cut off. A 5-run second inning for the Pirates. Steve, you said look out for Garrett Jones.
Well, this is why the Pirates like this guy's swing so much. He was stuck in the Twins organization for so long. This is a swing right here where if he gets any kind of elevation, if he just hits the back half of this ball just a little bit more, this is in the seats. Look at the balance. Look at the great swing with his head right down on the ball. You know, this little power V with his arms there is what gives you your strength. If he just misses that ball a little bit more, he actually squared it up too good to hit it out. If he hit the back half of the ball, the bottom half, he would have lifted it and put it into the seats. And right now, you're looking at a Kuroda who is struggling badly out there now with his command.
Ryan Doumit, the 9th man to bat here in the second inning. There goes the runner to second, and Garrett Jones gets himself a swipe. We didn't know that Garrett Jones had wheels. He's in scoring position. Guillermo Mota starting to get loose in a hurry, you'd imagine, in that bullpen for the Dodgers.
Hiroki Kuroda, I just don't think you can consider a power pitcher. Throws a bunch of different pitches, tries to use a bunch of different arm angles, and he can be extremely effective when he has command of the strike zone. And, you know, you could say that about a lot of guys, but he has the ability to fool you when he can throw the ball where he wants to. When he can't, he doesn't fool you with anything.
He's faced 12 batters so far through an inning and 2/3, and he's allowed 5 base hits. 3 singles, 2 doubles. He's also walked a man. 2-1 to Doumit. Rockies are not playing today. The Dodgers' magic number is 1. Dodgers hoping to clinch the NL West today, but off to a rough start. 5-0. Pirates on top. Kuroda laboring in the second inning. He's thrown 31 pitches.
That's why a lot of teams down the stretch would rather play teams that have something to play for than play against a team that doesn't. play against a team like the Pirates who have nothing to lose. Their sense of pride is sort of spitting on your glory.
Well, the Pirates do have something to lose. They've made it clear. You read the local newspapers. They need to go 5-3 the rest of the way to avoid 100 losses. John Russell doesn't want 100 losses next to his name in 2009. The way they were playing when the Dodgers came to town, they were just atrocious. They had lost 6 in a row. They had lost 23 of their last 26. A win today, and they win 3 out of 4.
Small victories.
Ball disappears underneath the bat of Domit, and the side is retired. Domit strikes out for the second consecutive inning, but major damage done. The Mark Loretta era starts things off, and the Bucs score 5 times in the home half of the second. Welcome back, everyone. 2 innings in the books here at PNC Park. Final home game of the season for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Trying to end it with a bang. They lead the Dodgers 5-0. It'll be Ausmus, Castro, and Kuroda to hit here in the 3rd inning. Against Zach Duke. Brad Ausmus takes ball 1. Dodgers have actually had 3 base runners so far in this ball game, yet they've had 1, 2, 3 innings in each the 1st and the 2nd. We're going to tell you about that in a moment. It's hard to do. 3 base runners, yet nobody left on base through 2 innings.
Well, the Dodgers really have made some poor judgment plays on the bases over the last few days. And, you know, this is a game where you can claw your way back into it. There's no question about that. It's still only the 3rd inning, and the Dodgers have that type of explosive offense when they get things going. But Zach Duke did a good job of pitching against them the last time they faced them. So it's an uphill battle here.
1-2 to Ausmus. And Duke in his last 5 starts is 0-4 with an ERA of 8.5. But wedged in there was actually one very good start against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium that he walked away with a no decision.
Yeah, and everything else. That's the funny thing.
There's the strikeout of Ausmus, 2nd strikeout of the day for the Dodgers.
Well, you might have thought the day was off to a bad start where there's an error on the Pirates, and then that ball bounces right back to Jones, and Orlando Hudson's stuck in a pickle here, and he's going to be out. Then in the 2nd inning, Kemp on second base gets off a little bit too far. Cruz makes a nice play, reminiscent of that Cardinal game yesterday, and then Mark Loretta gets on, and then Mark Loretta trying to surprise attack steal, and Zach Duke read something in it and picked him right off.
First pitch to Castro is a called strike. Castro making his 28th start of the season. 19 of them have been at shortstop, 8 at second base. He started 1 at the hot corner. There's a base hit. Solid knock for Castro. 2nd hit of the ball game for the Dodgers.
The Loretta play where Mark Loretta got picked off at first base trying to steal second was amazing, because Loretta has one stolen base on the entire season. So he decides to go, and they try to pick him off at the same time. Zach Duke must have ESPN.
Kuroda will look to bunt. Squares and bunts it foul. Roki, a batting average of 143 late in the season. Looking down at third base, Larry Boa has already gone through his signs. So of the guys that we have seen play a lot over the last couple of weeks, no Casey Blake, no Ronnie Belliard, no Manny Ramirez, no Rafael Furcal, and no Russell Martin in the lineup today. Kuroda gets it down. Garrett Jones, the play is at first, turns around and makes it. Second baseman Young covers, sacrifice, 3-4. Moving into second goes Castro. So Juan Pierre a chance to drive in a run.
This is the kind of thing you need to do to get back into this game. Just chip away, get guys on base, and keep them on base. And then come up with some 2-out hits. A situation with a guy on second base here, Juan Pierre up. Find a way to get a base hit. You start chipping away at that lead.
Juan takes ball one. Juan replacing Manny Ramirez in the lineup today. Manny had a little bit of an issue with a hamstring on Saturday. And Joe Torre just being extra careful.
The fact that Kuroda came up and laid down that bunt obviously means that Joe hasn't seen enough from Kuroda, hoping that maybe he can settle it down and work some things out.
Manny is available to pinch hit. Foul ball in and out of the catcher's glove.
Hey, that's a great shot there. Well, there's Manny letting his hair down just a little bit with the day off, and then with Thome standing behind him, that's about 1,100 home runs just chilling at the end of the bench. Thome knew we were going to talk about him, so he took a hike.
There's also two guys that say very, very positive things about their hitting coach during their younger years in Cleveland. They're both disciples of Charlie Manuel, now the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. And Jim Thome particularly, he was kind of an opposite field type of guy. Left-handed guy spraying the ball over the shortstop's head until Charlie Manuel got him and taught him how to pull the baseball and use his lower half. And Jim Thome is probably exhibit A of what Charlie Manuel is as a hitting coach. Very respected in the game.
Well, it's amazing when you look at Jim Thome now and the numbers that he's thrown up, that he was ever a punch and Judy hitter going the other way. The guy is massive.
Yeah, the Indians thought he was going to be another Wade Boggs. He was a high average guy. Remember, he was a third baseman in the 1995 World Series. The Indians were playing against the Atlanta Braves, and a skinny Jim Thome was playing at the hot corner. Didn't move over to first base until the Indians got Matt Williams and put him at third base. So by the time the 1997 World Series rolled around, Jim Thome was the everyday first baseman for the Indians.
97 was the year of the run on the Red Sox.
On the ground. Should be an easy play for Young. Oof. Garrett Jones was handcuffed, able to hang on and make the play. Castro standing at second. Zach Duke rolling along. 5-0 Buccos. outside the box. Lastings Millage yesterday with the bases loaded in the 9th inning against Jonathan Broxton. Goes the other way. The ball scoots away from Andre Ethier. Game over. Only base hit of the ball game for Lastings Millage. He was 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Hadn't got the ball out of the infield. And his only hit of the Dodgers, 7 games, 1 for 23. But he gets them when they count.
Got that one when it counted.
Don't tell me what you hit. Tell me when you hit.
Looks like he decided to change his shoes, too. He was going with those Ronald McDonald yellow shoes.
Ethier, out number 1.
Now he's gone back to the black and white.
I've always liked the Pirates uniforms, even when they were doing that wacky thing with the stovepipe hats back in the 70s. But now, with these classic uniforms, I'm a big fan. Brandon Moss takes a strike. A lot of history of good baseball, good uniforms, great players here in Pittsburgh. There's one of those stovepipe hats.
Those are bad.
Broke his bat. Hudson able to make the play. Orlando showed some fantastic range here in this 4-game series, out number 2.
Well, Orlando Hudson just gets great jumps on balls, so then you can see him tracking it because he's got such a good first step that he knows after taking about 3 steps that he's going to have an excellent chance of being able to make the play. He knows he might have to dive for it, but he knows he can get there.
Orlando was a high school defensive back and wide receiver in South Carolina, Darlington, South Carolina. Had a football scholarship. He was going to play at South Carolina with the Gamecocks. You just saw a little bit of his form right there. You can just imagine him laying out and catching a pass.
That's right, in the end zone.
He was chirping earlier in this road swing on Thursday night. South Carolina had an impressive win against Ole Miss. He let everyone know about it. I think Orlando Hudson and Juan Pierre, probably the 2 biggest college football guys. Juan Pierre's a big LSU Tiger fan.
And Kershaw, his pick for the BCS national title game this year was Ole Miss.
Yeah. He's got personal history with Jevon Sneed. Yeah, he saw Jevon Sneed when he was in high school. He's a big believer.
So you know Orlando Hudson was jumping on him about that.
Yeah, Clayton told me that when the season comes to an end, he's a Dallas guy. He's going to go back to Dallas. And he and his buddies, they caravan. Every single weekend they'll go someplace, generally in the Big 12, and watch a college football game. And it's not always going up to Austin to watch the Longhorns. They'll go to Waco and watch the Bears. They'll go to College Station and watch Texas A&M. He actually was going to be an Aggie before deciding to sign with the Dodgers. They'll go all over. That's the thing to do. Foul ball back to the screen. Of course, Clayton Kershaw, the story's been told a ton. He was high school teammates on the football team with Matthew Stafford, now the quarterback with the Detroit Lions. Congratulations to the Lions. Congratulations to Brad Zager, our producer. Big Lions fan.
What are you congratulating him for?
They won.
He didn't do anything.
Well, he got excited about it. Yeah, producer Brad has been despondent for the last year and a half with the Lions not winning anything last year, but finally able to hold his head up.
I just don't look at Clayton Kershaw and see a center. He was the center on that football team. See a big bad defensive end. Maybe a wide receiver if he could run a little bit.
Yesterday, Clayton working 4 innings, gave up 4 hits, a couple of runs, struck out 4. He was cruising along. First 3 innings, no worries. And then pitches started to pile up. And was taken out of the ball game. As we all know, the Dodgers ended up losing in the 9th inning. 2-out walk to Delwyn Young. Shortstop Luis Cruz will bat. Cruz pops it up on the infield. Should be an easy play for the Gold Glover. Hudson makes the squeeze, side retired. We played a third of this ball game. So far, so good for Pittsburgh. They're on top of the Dodgers 5-0. Only Pittsburgh Pirate with a 30 home run and a 50 stolen base season.
Wow. Some of these questions are very difficult. Some of them are pretty easy.
Don't overthink it. I did. I was thinking Honus Wagner, Pie Trainer. Some of those old school guys. Don't go there. That's your clue.
I don't think anybody but you did.
I was thinking Andy Van Slyke.
I was like,
Jason Bay. Did he get 50 steals? I was thinking. I actually even said Derek Belster.
50 steals.
Orlando Hudson leads things off. It'll be Hudson, Ethier, and Kemp against Zach Duke. 5-0.
That was back when he could run. Skinny.
I showed you a shot coming back from break of the Allegheny River, which is right beyond the right field wall. It flows southward, which should be going from center field to right field, basically behind the wall. 0-2 pitch downstairs. Here's a look at it. It's not supposed to be flowing that way.
Yeah, it goes this way.
Yeah, the wind is blowing it. I don't know if this is your major when you were at Oregon State, but is it possible to change the course of the water, or is that just an illusion?
Yes, river flow was my major at Oregon State. And I passed. Because right behind that, I had a class in underwater stump blasting.
Well, is that an illusion, or is that just...
I think the wind is blowing, and it's just blowing some white caps on the top of the water, blowing the other way. But the flow of the water is actually going left to right from our vantage point. But it is a cool illusion.
And you see the wind.
It would take a heck of a wind to change the flow of the river that, I don't know, for what, hundreds of years has been going the same way?
Well, let me tell you something. The people of Chicago, and you lived in Chicago for a while, they changed the flow of the Chicago River.
But it took millions of dollars to do it.
Three balls, no strikes to Ethier. Ethier's getting ready to get back to California. He's not enjoyed the trip to D.C. and Western Pennsylvania. He is just 1 for 22 now on this road trip, including 0 for his last 10. He began this road swing hitting .283 at the beginning of this ball game. He was hitting .274. So he's lost almost 10 points in the batting average. There's the walk on 5 pitches. Ethier on at first base with 1 out.
Well, same thing. You want to get back in this game, get some base runners. You got to get on there. Maybe a big blast by Matt Kemp.
Kemp reached on an error, leading things off in the second inning.
Matt's going through one of those periods right now where he's popped up a few balls, just missed them. And he's hit a lot of balls hard. His numbers on this road trip don't look great, but he's actually hit the ball pretty well. Sometimes hitters go through periods like that where you look at their numbers and you're like, wow, you're really scuffling. And he might say, I'm not really. Hitting the ball hard, just not getting anything.
To third, LaRoche gets one at second, on to first, not in time. The Bison runs well. So Kemp on at first base with 2 outs. See if Kemp is aggressive against the left-hander Zach Duke and tries to steal second. Matt's got 34 steals on the year. That is 3rd best in the National League. 5th best in the National League is Juan Pierre. He's got 27.
Matt Kemp now right down around 300. We told you at the beginning of this road trip that Matt Kemp would become the very first player in Dodger history, which is an amazing feat for me. If he could hit 300, hit 25 home runs, which he already has, drive in 100, which he already has, and have 35 stolen bases.
Loney hits it into shallow right. It's going to fall down. Base hit. Runners on at first and at second.
Big 2-out hits. We talked about it last time. Juan Pierre came up with an opportunity to drive in a run with 2 outs, was unable to do it. It's not an easy thing to do. But in a game like this, when you're getting beat 5-zip and you're in the 4th now, you have to be able to come up with big 2-out hits if you're going to get back in it. And now Mark Loretta will have a chance to do that.
Mark made an error in that second inning, which eventually resulted in 5 runs scoring for the Pirates. Mark getting the start today for Casey Blake, who has been sent back to LA to get his hamstring looked at. Mark still looking for his first home run of 2009. Fouls the first one out of play, right side. Coming into this game, Mark Loretta, 234 as a starter, 220 as a pinch hitter. Overall, a batting average of 230. Dodgers' magic number is now just 1. Rockies do not play today. Strike. Loretta's career high in home runs back in 2004 in San Diego. He had 16. He's got 76 lifetime home runs. Mark's good buddy on the team, Brad Ausmus, who's in the on-deck circle, has 1 home run this year. He has got 80 career home runs. Close lifetime numbers, power-wise, for Loretta and Ausmus.
Maybe that's why they hang out so much together.
You throw knuckleballs at each other.
They're the same guy.
Strike 3. Zach Duke has struck out 4 through 4 innings. Dodgers strand a pair, 5-0 Pirates. An answer, the question, who's the only Pirate with a 30 home run, 15 stolen base season? It's not Derek Bell.
Really?
It is Bobby Bonds. Barry Bonds. Bobby Bonds' son.
One of those Bondses.
33 and 52 back in 1990. You know what? There's a lot of great players and a lot of fantastic history at PNC Park. But they don't have anything that really mentions Barry Bonds' time here. You got the Roberto Clemente statue. You've got his number retired. There's a statue for Willie Stargell. There's signage on the concourse with all the guys from way back when, Pie Trainer, Honest Wagner. But Barry Bonds, who had a great start to his career, and it wasn't just a couple of years here. He was here for a significant chunk of time. They went to the playoffs multiple times. But I guess historically, he'll always just be considered a Giant, not a Pirate. And Paul Wainer.
Well, if you look at the Giants right now, there's not a real big mention of Barry Bonds anymore up there either. And I think, to be quite honest, it'd be far less about whether or not they consider him a Giant or a Pirate, and more about his legal troubles and suspicions about steroid use. I mean, you look at what's happened up there with the Giants. I mean, his name used to be everywhere. Now you can barely find it anywhere up there.
Andrew McCutchen has already reached base safely twice today, a single and a walk. Scored a run back in that 5-run second inning. McCutchen, first-round draft choice back in 2005, 11th pick overall. He's an example of one of the first-round picks that has actually been seemingly a success for the Pirates in recent years. That's been a real big issue for this organization. They have just flopped in terms of talent evaluation. Hudson throws him out. Dating back to 1996, they had the #1 overall selection in 1996. They took Chris Benson. Benson made it to the big leagues, won a decent amount of games. You're not going to really quibble with that. But immediately after that, over a 10-year stretch, 1997, J.J. Davis never got a sniff. Clint Johnston, left-handed pitcher, never made it to the big leagues. Bobby Bradley, arm issues. He was the 8th overall selection in 99. Sean Burnett hurt himself. He's now with the Washington Nationals. John Van Bunschoten. Most teams are thinking about him as an outfielder. They draft him as a pitcher. This ball is hit well to center field. Kemp going back. Still going back. It's gone. A home run. Andy LaRoche, his second extra base hit of the ball game. His 3rd hit of the game. And it's now 6-0 Pirates.
Andy LaRoche is putting on a show. Little extra motivation for LaRoche. We've talked about it. Most Dodger fans know that LaRoche is a former Dodger. His father is in the stands here to watch the game. That ball's just blasted. It's a pretty good poke to hit it out here dead central.
So a single, a double, and a home run for LaRoche. He's got 5 more innings to try and get himself a triple. Garrett Jones takes a strike.
A lot of people remember Dave LaRoche. Pitched in the Yankees. He invented a pitch called the lob. It's basically an eephus pitch. And then Dave was the bullpen coach in the White Sox organization when I played for the White Sox. I remember my oldest daughter and Adam LaRoche kind of hanging around at the ballpark together just as kids. Of course, Adam, now in the big leagues, was with the Pirates. Braves previous, Pirates back to the Braves.
With a little stint in Boston.
A week. And of course, younger brother Andy now putting on a show today here in Pittsburgh.
Didn't mean to. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Garrett Jones.
When Andy LaRoche got originally called up with the Dodgers, Dave LaRoche was there to meet him in Florida. Got a chance to see his son play in the big leagues. It's always got to be a big thrill, I would think.
Your dad's followed your career around. Was he able to make it to the big leagues in time for your first appearance?
He was. My dad was always in the insurance business. We grew up on the West Coast, and right about the time where we thought that I had a chance to make the big leagues, My dad got transferred to Hartford, Connecticut, which is generally known as one of the insurance capitals of the United States. But at the time, he was living in Denver, actually in Southern California. Found a way to get himself transferred to Hartford, Connecticut, which just is a 2-hour drive from Boston, so that he could come up and see games.
Jones hits this one to center field. Deep to center field. Back-to-back home runs. LaRoche and now Garrett Jones. Steve, you mentioned it earlier. Garrett Jones had done a whole bunch of nothing coming into this ball game. You were worried about what he might do. His second hit of the ball game and his 21st homer of the season.
Yeah, you just wonder how you can hold down a guy as talented as Jones. He's come up here and just set the world on its ear here in Pittsburgh since he got here. Leads all rookies in home runs, and he was just too quiet for too long. You were waiting for him to break out. Today's the day.
A 5-run second and now a 2-run fourth. And here comes Rick Honeycutt.
I don't know how much longer you can go with Kuroda. I think Joe Torre did a nice thing as far as, you know, in that third inning when Kuroda came up and he dropped the bunt down. It was a time where they could have taken him out. They could have pinch hit for him. But now you've got action out there, and I mean, he's proven that he doesn't have his good stuff. Now 7 runs, and he hasn't even gotten out of the 4th inning. Now, I can't imagine they're going to go with him much longer.
And just on that bullpen, Mota getting his motor running again.
Really?
The last broadcast of the year.
I've
been waiting on that one.
I liked it.
Garrett Jones, kid out of Chicago, home run number 21. First ball swinging, Ryan Doman pops it up behind home plate. Brad Ausmus has done this before. Squeeze is made, side retired, but damage done. Back-to-back home runs. LaRoche and Jones, 7-0 Bucks over the Dodgers.
He said yesterday he didn't like those sandwiches.
I ordered the wrong thing.
There's only one thing. They slap a bunch of stuff on it and hand it to you.
Well, they've got
it's either
salami,
good or
they've
not
got
good.
roast beef, they've got capicola. I got the capicola sandwich, and that just was a mistake.
What is capicola?
It's a spicy ham, my friend. LaRoche, third baseman, a home run last half inning. Garrett Jones, the first baseman, a home run. And on cue, Garrett Jones makes the play. 1 pitch, 1 out. Brad Ausmus grounds to the first baseman. So Ausmus now 0 for 2. And Juan Castro will bat.
But Juan Castro has had the type of season that you really have to look at bringing him back. I mean, starting to get up there in age. Used to be a Dodger years and years ago, then went away for a long time, played for a bunch of different ball clubs, and came back this year. Pretty much made the team as a non-roster guy, but has just been solid. Excellent defense, been swinging the bat well, and more action in the bullpen. Charlie Hager.
Swing and a miss. Ball and a strike to Castro. Well, Castro did make the commitment to the Dodgers earlier this spring. He was offered an opportunity to play for Mexico for the World Baseball Classic and turned it down just so he could give himself the best possible opportunity in front of the Dodger brass. Softly hit to third. LaRoche looking like Ron Sake today. 3 for 3. He's made all the plays defensively.
Well, I think when you're a guy that gets to be Juan Castro's age and you still want to spend time in the big leagues, you have to make that decision. And it is a tough decision for these players that turn down your country in order to try to make an impression on a team to better your own career. And I think at the end of the day, you know, if you're 22 years old, maybe you say, hey, I have time. But when you're 36, you gotta make a decision and keep playing.
Doug Minkiewicz will pinch hit for the pitcher, Hiroki Kuroda, here in the 5th inning. And I don't know what Doug Minkiewicz did during his time here in Pittsburgh, but each time he stepped to the plate, he's gotten a hero's welcome.
Well, they loved him here because of the way he played. And we talked about it a little bit the other day, that I always kind of thought of Doug Minkiewicz as a first baseman, outstanding glove man for the Twins and the Yankees and the Red Sox. But when he played here, he played a lot of games at third base and a lot of games in right field.
Softly hit the shortstop on the outfield grass. 3 up and 3 down. Zach Duke has retired 4 in a row. Will we see Charlie Hager when we come back? More than likely. Innings, and he has since been lifted. Charlie Hager is going to come out of the bullpen. This is his 6th appearance. The knuckleballer will pitch this frame against Lastings Milledge, Brandon Moss, and Delwyn Young.
You were talking about it yesterday, the job, and we were talking about what it takes to get into the playoffs for an organization, and the job that Charlie Hager did for this organization, coming up, making a few starts, and having a couple impressive starts, in fact. And you know, would have made more starts had not Ned Colletti gone out and made some moves, got Padilla in here, and then traded for John Garland as well. And all definite additions to this ball club, no question about it. But Charlie Hager was getting an opportunity to shine, and he took advantage of it.
Milledge reached on an error by Mark Loretta in that 5-run 2nd inning and is flied out to right. Charlie Hager from Detroit, Michigan. Makes his home in Plymouth. He's actually born in Livonia, all of those suburbs of the Detroit area. When he was in high school, They still do it to this day. Detroit Catholic League, they play 3-2 baseball. What is that, you ask? Well, you go to the plate with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. That's immediately you go to the plate and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. So
why don't they call it 1-and-1 baseball?
You walk on 3 pitches and you strike out on 2. So I guess technically you could go to the plate 0-0 and 3 balls you get a walk and 2 strikes you get a strikeout. But so it's done that way because it's, of course, upper Midwest and you're running out of daylight a lot of times in the spring during high school baseball season. You want to get the games in, so it's theoretically a quicker game that way.
And nobody can throw strikes?
There actually was a guy a number of years ago. He was called the little unit. Randy Johnson called the big unit. There's a guy called the little unit. His name was Ryan Anderson. He was a first-round pick of the
Mariners.
Seattle Mariners. And this guy was supposed to be all everything and ended up having shoulder issues and what have you. But a lot of scouts simply believed that he was a 3-2 creation. He was the guy who dominated because it was 3-2 baseball, and you got him to pro baseball, and it was a totally different concept for him.
You know, arm injuries certainly changed guys' careers, but you know, wow.
Millage is hit. And a runner on a first base with nobody out.
This is one that got away. That hit everybody. Gets Millage. I think it gets Osmus too. It might even clip the umpire on its way by, but you know, he's throwing a knuckleball 70 miles an hour. It's like you almost like it hits you and you kind of flick it off like a mosquito landed.
Was that the knuckleball or was that his fastball?
No, that was 70 miles an hour.
I don't know. You're the analyst.
Well, he throws his fastball a little harder than that.
It didn't knuckle at all.
With the wind blowing out today, Charlie Hager's the only guy in the ballpark as far as any pitcher is concerned that's happy about that. When the wind blows out, it's a better resistance on the ball traveling to home plate, and it gives it a little bit better movement. Any other pitcher would say, I don't want to see the wind blowing out, man. If someone hits the ball, it's going to go out easier. But a knuckleballer loves that.
Brandon Moss, the batter. Hager misses outside. 3 balls, no strikes to Moss. Millage on at first after being hit with the pitch. Pirates 7 runs on 8 hits. Dodgers have only had 3 hits against the starter Zach Duke.
See, there's his fastball, 82 miles an hour, right in there.
Maybe he's got different speeds with his fastball. 3-1. Popped him up, center field. Kemp coming on. Friday, join the Dodgers as they celebrate Tommy Lasorda's 60th season in Dodger Blue. To commemorate his historic achievement, the first 50,000 fans in attendance will receive a replica Lasorda Hall of Fame plaque presented by Farmer John. For tickets, call 866-DODGERS or visit Dodgers.com. Elwin Young, perfect day so far today. Double and a walk. It's amazing. Some of these events, you can say, hey, first 50,000 fans will receive this or that or whatever. You can't do that here at PNC Park. The capacity is 38,000. There goes Millage. Ball hit foul, first base side. First year this place opened up was the best, most highly attended season for the Pirates at this ballpark. 2001, they averaged 30,000. This year down to just 19,000 per ball game. We've seen the whole gamut. Sellout on Saturday. And then today, I don't know what they're going to announce. But it's not going to be more than 12,000 or so. 0-2 pitch, swung on and missed.
Well, the Saturday, the reason why they had virtually a sellout, although there were empty seats in here, there's no question. The weather was sketchy. But they had a Foreigner concert after the game, and they had a fireworks display, which is as good a fireworks display as I've ever seen in my life on any day, any 4th of July, anytime. They had like 14 finales. It's pretty incredible.
Well, they've got a $26 million payroll for the ball players, and maybe the budget for the fireworks exceeds that.
Well, that was the big joke. That's why they don't sign players, because they spend all the money on the fireworks. But I mean, I went back to my hotel room. I'm looking out my window, and they shoot them off right in the river. There's a big barge out there on the river. We're staying just across the river. And it was an amazing show that went on and on and on. And I thought, oh, it's got to be done now. Oh, no. After what I thought was the finale, there's our hotel. Right across the river. Ouch. Sorry. Banged my knee on the... After what I thought was the finale, it was a good show. Nice fireworks. Everything was good. And then boom, 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 boom forever. Thought it was the finale. Okay, I'm done. And then it started right back up again. 25 minutes later, still going. I was pretty excited about that.
Off of Hager into left field. Hopefully Charlie's okay. That ball really got him good.
In fact, it got him right on the right leg. We'll find out where. I don't know if it was on the thigh or in the knee. You're kind of hoping that it hit him in the thigh. You get mostly muscle that way, and he'll have a nice bruise. But if you start talking about kneecaps, see if we can see. And it looked like right on the outside of his right knee. And they're going to get him out of there right now.
So Hager's going to have to come out of the ball game. He is hit hard. He will leave. So he only faces 4 batters, retires 2 of them. Pirates rallying, already up by 7. And Joe Torre's going to have to go to the bullpen and use his second reliever. We're only in the 5th inning. It's going to be Guillermo Mota. Probably shouldn't take him a long time to get warmed up. We'll be back in a moment. We're going to have a pitching change. Guillermo Mota coming on, replacing Charlie Hager, who was drilled. Luis Cruz hit it right back to the mound, and it goes off the, looked like either the knee or maybe the lower thigh of Charlie Hager, but really no decision. It's immediate Charlie Hager having to leave the ball game and get that looked at. So he's replaced by Guillermo Mota. Well, this is what the playoff picture looks like. Dodgers' magic number to win the NL West is 1. Any Dodger win or Rockies loss the rest of the season, and the Dodgers will win the NL West for the second consecutive year. The magic number for the Phillies to clinch the East is 3. The Cardinals have already punched their ticket, and the wild card is the only really thing left up for grabs. The Rockies' magic number is 5 over the Braves. Now in the American League, it's all said and done in the East. The Yankees on their way to the postseason. Remember, they missed out on it last year. Joe Girardi's first season at the controls. Angels, magic number down at 2 in the West. Jim Leyland, his boys, with magic number 6 over the Minnesota Twins in the Central. They're actually going to begin a 4-game series against the Twins. That's going to be a fun one to watch. And the Red Sox magic number to clinch the wild card is down to 2. Ready to resume play. Guillermo Mota, appearance number 59 on the season, but his first one in a 10-day period.
Well, he should be well rested. I mean, this is a guy who started off the season just as bad as anybody could start. In fact, it really felt like the team was disappointed enough to maybe either cutting him loose or sending him down.
First ball swinging, Zach Duke flies it to the left field, and Juan Pierre side retired. We've played 5 complete here at PNC. 7-0 Pirates. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Well, despite what we just showed you right there, the Dodgers are actually not winning. We showed you a lot of positive plays. We showed you the smiles. You'd think that the Dodgers had a lead. Instead, they're down 7-0. Dodgers have had their opportunities. A bunch of base runners, but no runs so far against Zach Duke.
Well, they're still getting ready to wrap up the division. You're pretty much thinking that it's a matter of time. But to me, it's a major concern the way this team is playing. You got to find some positives and laugh and smile and be really happy about the way you've played all season long. But the last 10 days or so, this team isn't playing like a championship team.
As a former player, Steve, the Dodgers clinched a postseason berth on Saturday. They did not celebrate after that. They've been waiting to clinch the NL West to celebrate. Do you think they should have celebrated on Saturday?
No. I think that this team really believes that they're a division-winning team, and they've believed that since the first week of the season. and I think they felt like their business wasn't done.
Oh, man. McCutcheon almost played that one into a terrible mistake. Able to retreat and make the play.
Juan Pierre continues to scald the ball, but right at people. That ball might have knuckled on McCutcheon a little bit. That's the toughest ball for a center fielder to judge, the one that's hit directly at you, because you don't have a depth perception as to how hard it's hit. And obviously when Juan Pierre hits it, maybe you're thinking, well, that might drop in front of me, but he really hit that one hard.
Hudson swings at the first pitch and fouls it away.
I think when you're in first place for as many days as the Dodgers have been, it's been a long time. It's foregone conclusion that they're going to make the playoffs.
Bruce throws out Hudson.
Celebration comes when you win the division. And even more so if you hang on to that best record in the National League, and then you get that home field advantage for the playoffs, which means you start your games at home, and if it goes to a 5th game or a 7th game, that deciding game comes back home as well.
Dodgers have been in first place in the NL West for 169 games this season.
They like it there.
After today's ball game, the Dodgers will head back to California. Make a pit stop in San Diego, play a pair against the Padres. Chad Billingsley against Cesar Ramos in the game tomorrow night, Petco. And then on Wednesday, John Garland against Clayton Richard. A day off on Thursday, and then a weekend series against the Rockies. Two balls, two strikes. Dodgers had 3 base runners in the first 2 innings against Zach Duke, but had no runners left on base because they basically ran themselves out of innings. 3 guys caught on the base paths in the first 2 innings combined. Orlando Hudson caught between first and second after rounding the bag at first when there was an error. A ball missed by the first baseman Garrett Jones in the throw to first base. So there's 1 out on the base paths. And then in the second inning, Matt Kemp was caught too far off the bag at second on a little pop fly into shallow left field. And then Mark Loretta was picked off at first. It's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Duke. He's now retired 7 in a row. Through 5.5. Dodgers scuffling against the left-hander from Clifton, Texas.
Now time for the Coors Light freeze cam, and guess who it is? It's Andy LaRoche with that home run swing. Look at the belt buckle looking right at you. When you get that kind of hip turn through your swing before you've made contact, that's where your power comes from. Dead central. Matty Kemp couldn't go up and get it. And that was our Coors Light freeze cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. LaRoche with a chance for the cycle today. With this kind of an outfield, maybe if he pokes one out into right center field, gets it up off the wall, he can get 3.
He'll hit second in this inning. Andrew McCutchen, Andy LaRoche, and then Garrett Jones.
Former Dodgers. LaRoche with a single, double, and a home run. Young with a double and an RBI and a walk.
Guillermo Mota begins his first full inning of work, and McCutchen fouls it away right side. Mota replaced Charlie Hager, who was hit by a line drive off the bat of Luis Cruz. Had to lead the ball game. Good strike, inner half, 0-2. For the most part, the Dodgers have been a healthy team here in 2009. Offensively, 7 guys, 500 at-bats or more. For Call, 8th year, Kemp, Loney, Russell Martin, Casey Blake, Orlando Hudson. It's a good recipe for a solid offense. As this ball is singled into center field. Runner on a first, nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Join the Dodgers this Saturday when they take on the Rockies. And the first 50,000 fans in attendance will receive a 2010 Dodgers team photo calendar presented by the Hart Gallery. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. So Andy LaRoche, a single, a double, and a home run. Chance for the cycle. Do you think he has any idea that he's only a triple away from the cycle?
He knows.
Darrell Ward was the last Pirate to hit for the cycle. Ball must have been wedged in the outfield fence for him to get a triple.
Darrell Ward's been
All
coming
3
up.
outfielders must have collided.
He's been coming up a lot in these broadcasts. He was the only guy to hit it into the river. He was a member of the Astros when he did that. But a lot of Darrell Ward references in this series.
Deceptive speed.
Very deceptive.
That's where he hit it into. That's the Allegheny. Guys have hit it in there on a bounce, but in terms of hitting it on a fly, Darrell Ward the only man to do it.
Good looking ballpark.
A little bit outside. In case you're wondering, LaRoche is actually French for the Rock. Boulder. We looked it up. You're looking like you don't believe that.
I'm thinking about my I'm thinking about the Rock reference, you know.
The movie?
The
Ed
wrestler?
Harris? Nicolas Cage?
Johnson.
Vanessa
Dwayne
Marshall?
Johnson.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The Rock.
I bet most people wouldn't think that LaRoche is the Rock. Probably have.
No, nobody would think that because you're the only one that comes up with a reference like that. That finds stuff in French that mean the same thing as whatever his name is.
There goes McCutchen on the right side. McCutchen running. 7-0 lead.
Yeah, it's getting a little late. 3-2 pitch. Maybe stay out of the double play. A little more understandable, but the way the Dodgers have played and getting your nose rubbed in it a little bit. 6th inning. Maybe they don't worry too much about it, but this is 7th inning. That same thing happened. LaRoche might be looking at one in his ear hole right now. It's kind of funny, too, the way baseball works.
There he goes, and LaRoche, he may have a chance for a triple. This ball's in the gap. It's going to go to the wall. McCutcheon will score, but the story is LaRoche. He's going to go for it now. He puts on the brakes. I think he would have been a dead duck, and he knows he knows he's going for the cycle.
You know, I've never really been a guy that says, hey, play for your personal stats. But how do you not go for it right here? I know the third base coach held him up and everything. But, I mean, yeah, you have a chance to make history. You're in an 8-0 game. If you get thrown out, keep going. Take the chance. Have some fun. Last home game of the season in a dreadful year. Playing against your former team. You got a chance to hit the cycle.
He's got too much respect for the game. It's a good thing. Jones pops it up, foul territory. Loretta makes the play.
Respect for the game is one thing. I'm totally for that. Like I said, basketball players that, intentionally miss a shot so they can get their own rebound, so they can get a triple-double, that kind of stuff doesn't, But I don't know. I mean, this is legit. He hit a bullet into the gap. Could have gone for three. You're looking at LaRoche right now. He's all gassed at second anyway. See, he's looking at his third base coach saying, well, you kidding me? You held me up? Tony Beasley down there at third saying, nah, you better stop right there. Good chance he gets thrown out at third, but still got to make a good throw.
Ryan Doman happy that he's coming to the plate with just one out. He has ended 3 innings so far in this ball game. Struck out to end the first, struck out to end the second, 5-run second, and he popped out to the catcher to end the fourth. So he's ended 3 innings and hasn't hit the ball in fair play so far.
Well, on the anniversary of James Loney's 9 RBI day, LaRoche is trying to get close. 4 so far today with a home run, 2 doubles, and a single.
I don't think James is worried. He hits a grand slam next time up, and he's still down.
Still shy.
Yeah. Nine runs batted in is a ton.
I mean, and think about it. He had 9. He got 9, but he had a grand slam and a 3-run homer. There's 7 right there. Think of how hard it is to get the other 2.
3-1 now to Doman. Pirates trying to avoid a 100-loss season. They need to go 5-3 in their remaining 8 games. That includes this game as well. They were limping coming into this series. By far the worst stretch in the big leagues this year by any team. They were just 3-23 in their previous 26 games. Yet John Russell's team has circled the wagons here against the Dodgers.
Can you imagine going 3-26?
After today's game, the Dodgers 2 games, 2 opportunities to clinch on the road if they don't get it done, if they don't rally today and come back. They'll have 2 more opportunities in San Diego. Of course, they have an opportunity every time the Rockies play, because if the Rockies lose, then the Dodgers clinch as well. Wow. Pirates haven't won back-to-back games against the Dodgers since
3 years ago.
It's the same time frame basically when James Loney had his 9-run batted in game. 3 balls, 2 strikes. LaRoche on at second. Already a run in here in the 6th.
The thing that's kind of bothersome as well when you look at the way this game is played out, when you look at the starter for the Pirates, Zach Duke, he can't beat anybody. He's lost 6 of his last 7 decisions, and the 1 decision in there was a no decision against the Dodgers where he pitched well enough to win. So everyone else has beaten this guy. And the last 2 times he's faced the Dodgers, he's pretty much shut him down. Not much of a race for that foul ball. That reminds me of Tom Hanks, who grew up in the Cleveland area. He said back in the days when Cleveland was so bad they played on the mistake by the lake. He said they'd hit a foul ball into the section, and you didn't even have to chase anybody. You could just look at it and say, I'll wait till the end of the inning to go pick that ball up because there's no one else up here that's going to battle me for it.
Doman hits it in right field. LaRoche coming around third. Ethier's throw is cut off. Doman puts the ball in play for the first time today, gets himself a hit and a run batted in. It's now a 9-0 lead for the Pirates. How crazy has this series been for the Dodgers? Yesterday they had themselves a 3-run lead heading to the bottom of the 9th inning against a team with a historically bad offense. Jonathan Broxton, all-star closer in the ballgame to try and clinch the NL West. And the Pirates able to score 4 times in that 9th inning. The man at the plate right now, Lasting's Millage. A 3-run double with the bases loaded. And Joe Torre's team goes from a chance to celebrate in the clubhouse here at PNC Park to having to play again today with a chance to clinch. And now watching the Pirates put 9 runs on the board on 12 hits while Zach Duke is twirling a gem against them.
And just the quality of play is what's troublesome, I think. And when you can make some stats say anything you want them to say, but when you look at this road trip alone, traveling to Washington and Pittsburgh.
Deep drive to center field. Kemp on the run, still on the run, makes the play on the warning track. Hard hit ball, but out number 2. Doman races back to first.
You go on the road and you play the 2 worst teams in the National League, the Washington Nationals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And on this road trip, they've made 8 errors. There's been 11 unearned runs scored, 5 of them today. That's 10% of the total of unearned runs that the Dodgers have given up all season long. Those kind of numbers just don't lie.
Well, is there any reason to believe, the Dodgers obviously going to the postseason, is there any reason to believe that that's going to continue, or is this just something you can turn off and on? Into center field, Matt Kemp makes the play. I'm going to give you 90 seconds to think about your answer. We'll talk about the carryover effect. Does it exist or does it not? With the Dodgers not playing particularly well, we'll talk about that when we come back. Rockies by 5 games with 6 to play because the Dodgers own the tiebreaker. Head-to-head series, Dodgers winning out against the Rockies. Because of that, Dodgers' magic number is 1. Any Dodger win or Rocky loss in the remaining 6 games, and the Dodgers win the NL West. We were talking last half inning, Steve, about how sloppy the Dodgers have been on this road trip so far, and I asked you the question. In baseball, is there such thing as a carryover effect?
I don't think you could turn it on and turn it off, which was the original question. But we've seen teams that absolutely backed into the playoffs and then played very well. I mean, if you look at the Cardinals in 06, they were playing terribly down the stretch and then won the World Series. I just don't think you can count on that.
Matt Kemp loops it into right field, and right now the Pirates are playing fantastic baseball. Brandon Moss makes like Roberto Clemente for out number 1.
You know, if you're not playing well, if guys are slumping and you're not swinging the bat all that well, why would you expect that to change just tomorrow because the playoffs start? I mean, it can. We've seen it happen before, but, you know, trends in baseball kind of, you know, I'm not a big believer in momentum. Like, you know, if we win today, you know, the big saying is, oh, that gives us a lot of momentum or a lot of confidence going into the next game. Really doesn't. You start the next day, you start all over. But it does have an effect on the way you feel about yourself, I think, and just feel in general, a little bounce in your step. But momentum? I don't know.
James Loney, 1 for 2 so far today. Dodgers have just 3 base hits against Zach Duke. All of them have been singles. Loney, Loretta, and Castro with the base hits. Baseball is just such a game of consistency. You play 162 games. You're just out there every single day. And these guys are professionals and big leaguers because of the consistency that they've shown throughout the course of their careers. Matt Kemp's a 300 hitter. He's going to get hits generally 3 times out of every 10 at-bats. Loney strikes out. A lot of people believe you go 0 for 10, you're a 300 hitter, more than likely you're going to get 6 hits in your next 10 at-bats. That's the consistency, the way this game is played.
Yeah, I don't think it happens that way. I think players get hot and they play way better than their 300 average, and then sometimes they stink it up, play way worse than their 300 average, and that's the way it balances out.
Loretta takes ball 1.
I mean, look at Andre Ethier's season. I mean, Andre Ethier had about an 8 for 80 period in there, and then, you know, he's had stretches where you can't get him out. And he hasn't been like, you know, every 10 at bats he gets 3 hits. There are guys that are fairly consistent. They just keep cruising along. They never really get hot. They never really get cold. But that's kind of unusual. And when you look at Ethier right now, what did we say? His numbers are like 2 for 23, 2 for 24 over his last few games.
And he's at a road trip. Factoring his 0 for 2 today, he's 1 for 23 on this road trip.
Talking to Eli Wallach right there, the hitting coach.
Otherwise known as Tim Wallach.
Oh, yeah.
On the ground. Another easy 1-2-3 inning for Duke. He has now retired 10 in a row. Time to stand up and stretch it out. Home half of the 7th is next. really struggled against Zach Duke. Duke has retired 10 consecutive. It's 9-0 as we play the bottom of the 7th inning. New shortstop coming into the game, giving a blow to Juan Castro. Chin Lung Hu is the shortstop. Jason Repko is coming to the game to play right field. Andre Ethier is out. And we've got a new pitcher. James McDonald comes on. McDonald 5-5. One of those decisions coming on this road trip. He picked up a loss on Thursday against the Nationals.
Looks like Juan Pierre out there in center field as well. Matt Kemp out of the ball game, and A.J. Ellis is the new catcher.
There's A.J. Ellis. I told you that Juan Castro is leaving the ball game. He's just leaving the infield. He's gone from shortstop out to left. So it's an outfield now of Castro, Pierre, and Repko. An infield of Loretta, Hu, Hudson, and Loney. And a battery of McDonald throwing to A.J. Ellis.
Loney really is like the modern day Steve Garvey, too. Guy that just plays every inning of every game, it seems like. Even when they make wholesale changes. The one guy that generally stays in the ball game is James Loney.
Juan Castro, this is his first time playing a game in the outfield in 13 years. 1996 was the last time he was in the outfield, and he did it with the Dodgers back then. That was his second season in the big leagues.
Well, Joe Torre probably asked him if he ever played in the outfield, and he said, yeah, when I was with the Dodgers a long time ago. You know that's not his glove. He had to borrow someone else's glove to run out there and play the outfield. A lot of people might say, well, why? Well, Castro plays exclusively in the infield. His infielder's gloves are way smaller than anything that anyone would wear in the outfield. So you go into the outfield and you snag someone else's glove.
I think that's Manny's glove.
It does look like a Manny model.
My question to you, Steve Lyons, speaking of gloves and people wearing them, Jim Thome, since coming over from the White Sox, everyone knows he's only going to be used as a pinch hitter. Do you think he has a glove with him? Pop up, squeeze made by Orlando Hudson.
I think he's got a glove with him. It's just got a lot of cobwebs on it.
Oh, it is Manny Ramirez's glove.
Yeah, you can see the signature of Manny right on the side. Great work by the guys in the truck to pick that out. Manny let his hair down, figuring he's not going to do anything but pinch hit if he even gets that opportunity. Doesn't need his glove today.
Zach Duke remains in the game. If you're wondering what's to look forward to in this ball game, former Dodger Andy LaRoche is going to get another at bat. He's 4 for 4. He's got 2 doubles, a single, and a home run. Hit a ball into the right center field gap his last time up. Was thinking about a triple, but put on the brakes. He's got a chance to hit for the cycle. If he doesn't hit this inning, he will definitely hit in the 8th inning.
Now, if he hit that same ball he hit last time in this inning with Juan Pierre out there, not as good as throwing arm, he probably would have got the triple.
McDonald retires the side in order. The 8th is next in Pittsburgh. A 9-0 lead for the Pirates. Zach Duke has been fantastic. 7 innings, just 3 singles, walked 1, struck out 5. He's got a shutout going. Hasn't given up a base hit or a base runner since 2 outs in the 4th inning. He's retired 10 straight. Going to get a chance to face off against A.J. Ellis, looking for his first base hit in 2009 in a Dodger uniform. Former Austin P. Governor takes strike 1. Dodgers actually have 2 former governors on this roster. A.J. Ellis playing at Austin P in the Ohio Valley Conference. And George Sherrill out of the bullpen. He was also a former governor. Both of them actually graduated. Somewhat rare when you have a Major League Baseball player who's a college graduate. But both A.J. Ellis and George Sherrill graduated from Austin P. It's in Clarksville, Tennessee. Other college graduates on the Dodgers. Brad Ausmus graduated from Dartmouth Ivy League school. Mark Loretta graduated from Northwestern. First baseman Garrett Jones rose to the pitcher covering. That's now 11 in a row retired. There's actually a reason why a good number of Major League Baseball players frequently don't finish their undergraduate schooling, as you have, of course, the opportunity to get drafted out of high school. You can get drafted out of junior college. You can get drafted after your junior year of college. Sometimes exceptional circumstances because of age. You can get drafted after your sophomore year of college.
Well, I think a lot of people's attitude too is, education is one thing, and there's many different ways to get educated. And many people go to college not only to get educated, but to be able to find a career and find a good job. If you get drafted as a ball player after your junior year, you have the opportunity to make a good salary and go start a career. Does the fact that you didn't graduate make you less of a person at that point? And I think that's many reasons why guys don't go back to school. I've got a good job, things are going well, making some good money.
Juan Castro breaks his bat, softly right side. Young throws him out. And actually, the way that it's set up, there's not a whole heck of a lot of motivation. If you are an elite prospect and you're drafted after your junior year, more often than not, you want to sign because you give up your leverage if you go back to college. If you're a senior and you graduate, you no longer have that leverage of saying, you know what, I'm going to continue with my college education. I'm not going to sign. If you're a junior, you're negotiating with a professional team. You could always say, well, I don't particularly care for that offer. I'm going to play my senior season. You give up that leverage once you start your senior season. You have nothing else you can do unless you say, I want to play in an independent league.
I think that leverage has lessened as time has gone by because, as you said, if you are an elite player and you do get drafted, the money that goes along with your eliteness generally sways you away from your senior year in college. They're looking at you like, hey, we're offering you a $4 million bonus. You're going to sign, or you're going to go back for your senior year.
Jason Repko, like A.J. Ellis, looking for his first base hit in the Dodger uniform in 2009, strikes out against Zach Duke. Duke's got a shutout going through 8. 9-0 Pirates. This 8th inning, we will see Andy LaRoche bat. He's in the on-deck circle. He's already got 4 hits. He's a triple away from the cycle. He doubled his last time up and was thinking about trying to go to third base, but he stopped at second, and it's probably still eating at him. Dodgers guaranteed of a postseason berth. Earned that on Saturday here at PNC Park. Another base hit from McCutchen. McCutchen's been impressive here in this series. It's his 3rd hit of the ball game. So here comes the former Dodger farmhand, Andy LaRoche. Already a 4-hit day. He's a triple away from the cycle. Career highs in hits and runs batted in.
Well, one of the reasons why you get pretty excited about hitting a cycle is that it is every bit as rare as throwing a no-hitter.
Strike 1 to LaRoche.
The numbers of no-hitters and cycles are virtually the same, very, very close.
Andy's got a smile on his face, even though that ball came up and tight on him. He's obviously very familiar with James McDonald, being in the Dodgers farm system together for a number of years. Ball and 2 strikes. Three balls and 2 strikes. Similar situation earlier in the ball game. Actually, just in the 6th inning, Andrew McCutchen was off on a 3-2 pitch. Let's see if he's running here with a 9-0 lead in the 8th inning.
No one's holding him on, so if he does run, I think he'd be in a little bit of trouble.
Not going. Deep drive down the left field line. Off the foul pole. Home run for LaRoche. What a day for Andy LaRoche. 5 for 5. 4 extra base hits. A couple of homers. And 6 runs batted in. Are you kidding me?
The amazing thing to me is when you have a guy swinging the bat that well, and you and I just talked about it, how does the law of averages catch up with you? There's a fastball down the middle. Why do you continue to throw the guy strikes?
What a day for Andy LaRoche. And his father's in attendance.
Yes, he is. Great day for Andy, and gets the curtain call from the fans here that are still left on the final home game.
Fly ball off the bat of Garrett Jones into center field. All right, we may need to get out the rule book. What would happen? He just hit the foul pole. What would happen if he just stopped at third? Just chose not to go home? You hit a home run, but you stop at third because you want to get the cycle. Can you do it?
I don't think you can. I believe that once you hit a home run, it's actually an award at that point. Running the bases on a home run is kind of a ceremonial thing. It used to be, I'm not sure if this rule is the same, that if you hit a home run and it goes out of the ballpark, it used to be that you technically didn't even have to touch the bases. You just run around. If you missed a base, you still wouldn't be out. I believe that rule's changed. I think you do have to touch the bases now. But it is a ceremonial trot around the bases.
You know the guy we need to ask about this?
Maybe
David Vincent. David Vincent,
your buddy
the Sultan
at the
of SWAT stats, who's the official scorer. down in Washington, D.C. We were talking about him a number of times earlier this week.
Well, let's see. What if was McCutcheon on base? What if McCutcheon got in between? What if he got to in between second and third and LaRoche crossed him? LaRoche would have to cross him after he went.
But I believe
past
LaRoche is the one who's out.
Yeah, you're right. It's a ridiculous conversation because nobody stops at third if you hit the ball out of the yard.
Walk is issued to Ryan Doman. He add it all up. 2 homers, 2 doubles, and a single, and it's 13 total bases for LaRoche.
LaRoche might enjoy his dinner tonight.
No, James McDonald continues to struggle. 3 out of the first 4 guys have reached base safely against him here in the 8th inning. There's an outside chance that we may see LaRoche hit again here in this 8th. Don't go anywhere. The pursuit of the cycle continues. Lastings Millage. He's one of the few guys who hasn't enjoyed his time at the plate so far today. He's 0 for 3 and has been hit with a pitch.
It's pretty much typical of his at-bats against the Dodgers. Just 1 hit the whole season off the Dodgers. It was a big one. Yesterday's double that drove in the 3 runs to beat the Dodgers in the 9th.
So the Dodgers had a 5-2 lead heading into the bottom of the 9th inning yesterday's ball game, with Jonathan Broxton on the mound. Since that 5-2 lead, they have been outscored 15-0.
Well, I'm trying to check here on the stat sheet, but you have to go a long way back to find the last time the Dodgers have been taken out behind the woodshed like this and just absolutely got whacked.
Donald's 2-1.
May 26th in Colorado, the Dodgers lost 10-4.
Another base hit. Millage is first to the ball game. Doman rounds second. He'll stop.
It was actually April 26th in Colorado. April 26th, they get beat 10-4 months ago. St. Louis beat them in late July, 10-0.
Brandon Moss swings at the first pitch, chops it to first. Loney takes the easy out right in front of him. There are now 2 outs. Runners move up 90 feet apiece. Now looking forward, the Dodgers with a couple of games in San Diego next 2 evenings. It'll be an important start for Chad Billingsley tomorrow night. Chad was very good at times for Joe Torre earlier on this road trip. In a game against the Washington Nationals, he went 6 innings, gave up only 1 hit, but it was a big one to Ryan Zimmerman. Ended up being a 3-run home run. Billingsley didn't get a decision in that ball game. He struck out 9 in 6 innings of work. He'll try and build on that in the game tomorrow against the Padres. If you had to make a decision, Joe Torre decided to go with a 4-man rotation for the postseason. Who are those 4?
I think Randy Wolf's definitely there. I think Clayton Kershaw's certainly there if they're playing the Phillies. I think Kuroda is a guy that's definitely in the running. Today didn't help him. And Billingsley, I think, has a lot to do with whether or not he pitches. Now, you got to look at John Garland, too, who's pitched very well for this team. Padilla, they've already started talking about him going to the bullpen. And it might be tough for him to even make the staff. You never know. I mean, he's pitched well, but someone's going to be on the losing end of the stick. That was another thing that we talked about. Who makes this postseason roster? Someone's going to have to be left off, and maybe someone who's been here all year and and has done a nice job for this club. Many, many decisions for a team, and Joe Torre, who's been in first place all year long. You would think that a first place team wouldn't have that many decisions when it comes down to, you know, who's on your postseason roster and how you're setting up your rotation, but there are many, many questions.
This will end the inning. Loney wins the race to the bag, side retired. But a couple of more runs cross home plate. McCutcheon a single, Andy LaRoche his second home run of the ball game. He's 5 for 5 in the ninth inning. Coming your way when we return. Prime ticket, another 7 o'clock start. John Garland will get the ball against Clayton Richard. Richard, one of those guys acquired from the Chicago White Sox in exchange for Jake Peavy. Jake Peavy out of the NL West. Dodgers will be hoping to clinch at Petco. Magic number down to 1 unless something heroic happens over the next 3 outs. Dodgers are going to have to wait until tomorrow to punch their ticket as NL West champs. They're already guaranteed of making the postseason. That was guaranteed on Saturday. But the Dodgers were hoping to clinch either yesterday or today, and it looks like it's not going to happen. Zach Duke has not allowed a base runner since the 4th inning. He's retired 13 in a row.
You know, one of the other interesting questions to ponder as you look at the way the Dodgers set up in their rotation and the decisions that Joe Torre has to make is
on the ground is short.
If in fact the decision by Joe Torre is made that Chad Billingsley is not one of his first 3 starters in the first round of the playoffs, does he make the roster at all? Hasn't pitched out of the pen. It's not something they've ever asked him to do. They've had guys that have been pitching out of the pen. Might be something that they would consider. Obviously, Chad wouldn't like that. But if they decide he's not one of the top 3, where does he fit in?
That start tomorrow is going to be very important. You're not going to want to miss it. Chad Billingsley is going to get the ball. Remember, he went 6 innings, allowing just 1 hit, struck out 9 his last time. Had a rough inning where he walked a couple of guys, extended the inning, and then they had to pay the penalty on a home run by Ryan Zimmerman. But he looked like he had front end of the rotation stuff for a large part of that game against the Nationals earlier this week.
It's kind of been his MO all year, though. He's looked really, really good for about 5 innings, and it kind of gets away from him in the 5th or 6th in a big way. And, you know, that's not just a conversation for Chad Billingsley. I mean, you're looking at 6 starters. Not all of them are going to make the rotation. probably just 3 in the first round. And then with those extra 3 guys, what do you do with them? Do they automatically become bullpen guys? Not necessarily. Some guys that don't make the front end of that rotation might not make the roster at all. And we're talking about guys like Padilla or Garland. Clayton Kershaw didn't look particularly good in his last start. I think Randy Wolf's a no-brainer. After that, Joe Torre is going to have to get together with the coaches, certainly Rick Honeycutt, and they're going to have to figure it out.
Just had a shot of Randy Wolf in the dugout. Randy Wolf is a veteran ball player, been around a lot of Major League Baseball games, but never around a postseason game. He has never been on a team that's made the playoffs. Is that a concern at all, or is it not?
Not for me. There's a lot of guys on this team that do have playoff experience, and Randy Wolf has never been a guy that kind of gets rattled. It's not his game. It's not like he relies on extra adrenaline to pitch. He's one of those guys that kind of pulls things back a little bit, and I don't think he's going to get nervous at all.
Into right center field. That's the first base hit for the Dodgers since the 4th inning. Orlando Hudson's going to try and stretch it into a triple, and he'll make it easily. Stand up 3-bagger. And now the shutout for Zach Duke is in danger.
Well, there haven't been very many hard hit balls in this ball game today for the Dodgers, but that ball was waffled the other way.
Outfield is very shallow.
Well, all day long, the Dodgers barely hit the ball out of the infield. That ball was really spanked the other way by Orlando Hudson. Got out there in a heartbeat.
4th hit for the Dodgers, first extra base hit. Chin Long Hu to center field. This could score a run. McCutchen, his throw way off the mark. Dodgers score, break up the shutout. RBI for Chin Long Hu. It's now 11-1.
See McCutchen there with a guy on third base and nobody else on. He pretty much airmailed it all the way to the plate. And the crowd here giving Zach Duke a nice ovation for the effort he's had so far today. Now, manager Russell looks like he might come out and get him.
This would be shocking if John Russell is going to take out Zach Duke.
That's unbelievable right there.
An 11-1 game, final home game of the season, and Zach Duke is going to be denied an opportunity to go for the complete game. I guess he's going to get a round of applause as he goes to the dugout.
I mean, could that be what Russell is thinking, is to get him out of there so he can get that applause? But
I think he'd rather shake hands with the rest of his team in the middle of the ninth with a complete
odd
game.
decision.
7-1 lead.
It's tough to understand why he'd take him out of a ball game with a chance for a complete game in his last home start. I mean, if you're worried about pitch count, you shouldn't be. 11 times Zach Duke has thrown more than 103 pitches this season, and that's what he threw tonight.
Maybe John Russell wanted to celebrate this win with a serving of veal. Maybe that's why. Donnie Veal coming on to pitch the, try and get the 27th out.
Maybe he could go for a nice Oso Buco like I did last night.
Yeah, unbelievable. Zach Duke cruising along, coming into this inning. He had retired 13 in a row. He retires Juan Pierre to begin the inning. He does give up a run, but base is clear, and he's lifted from the ball game. And that's going to do it. Blake DeWitt, the pinch hitter, strikes out. Game's over. Dodgers miss an opportunity to clinch the NL West. They'll have to do it in San Diego over the next couple of days.